accordingly, in a way that is suitable for the situation. He worked long hours, and accordingly, he received a promotion. Circumstances have changed, and we need to adapt accordingly. Think ahead to your budget and plan your expenses accordingly. We have to discover what his plans are and act accordingly. Eventually. In the end, especially after a long delay. Many couples who cohabit eventually decide to get married. Even the most beautiful flowers eventually fade away and die. Although he was stubborn, he eventually changed his mind. They had a heated debate but eventually came to a solution. Rather than. To a significant extent or degree. Her preference is for comfortable rather than stylish clothes. The problem was psychological rather than physiological. The enrollment criteria are academic rather than geographical. I tend to watch the television for pleasure rather than education. Indeed. Without any question, undeniably. The competition was indeed tough, but he gave it his best shot. The museum tour was indeed educational, we learned about history. The speech was indeed inspiring, and it motivated us to work harder. The soccer game was indeed competitive, both teams played their best. In contrast. When compared to another. The healthy vegetable is in contrast to the unhealthy candy. Being self-aware has a benefit in contrast to being unaware. He succeeded in contrast to his colleagues who were laid off. Reading books is a benefit in contrast to watching TV all day. Furthermore, introducing additional points. He is lazy, and furthermore, he has no sense of responsibility. He is a dedicated teacher, furthermore, he cares about his students. She finished her geography project, furthermore, she created a map. The food was delicious, furthermore, the service was excellent. However, despite whatever manner or degree, he is a great athlete, however, he never won a championship. He is very intelligent, however, he struggles with social skills. The weather was beautiful, however, we decided to stay indoors. I was nervous about the presentation, however, it went smoothly. Conversely. In an opposite way. In practical life, nobody was all bad, nor, conversely, all good. The vacation wasn't all good, and conversely, it wasn't all bad. He is a Democratic voter, his brother, conversely, is a Republican. Miles struggles in math, but conversely, he is good at essay writing. Subsequently. Happening after something else. The appointment was missed and subsequently, they had to reschedule. The weather was bad and subsequently, they had to cancel their plans. The road was closed and subsequently, they had to take a detour. Was arrested and subsequently sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. Comparatively. As compared to something else. The device is comparatively easy to install and cheap to operate. The air quality in this region is better, comparatively speaking. We prefer to work with a comparatively small number of clients. Man is a comparatively new creature on the surface of the earth. Incidentally. In a way that is not planned. They had met incidentally at university and finished up getting married. The movie was terrible, but incidentally, the soundtrack was amazing. I didn't plan on meeting my best friend, it just happened incidentally. While hiking in the woods, I discovered incidentally a hidden waterfall. Just as. In the same way as. Vegetarian meals can be just as delicious as meat-based meals. Sometimes, downtime is just as important as being productive. Informal education can be just as valuable as formal education. The weather forecast was accurate and it rained just as predicted. Moreover. In addition to what has been said. She loves to read books, moreover, she enjoys writing stories too. He is not just a hard worker, moreover, he is also a team player. The city is diverse, moreover, it has a rich cultural history. He's a great chef, moreover, he's a successful restaurateur too. On the other hand. Introduce a contrasting point of view. He is an able man, but on the other hand, he asks too much of us. She likes classical music, her husband on the other hand likes all kinds. She is fond of traveling, on the other hand, she was afraid of flying. I like to visit calm places, my friend, on the other hand, enjoys noisy places. Notably. Especially or most importantly. The house had many drawbacks, most notably its location and price. Notably, labor costs are rising but not at the grade of purchase costs. Some patients, notably the elderly and the young, have greater risks. His reading skills notably improved once he started reading comic books. Further. Additional to what already exists. When someone is upset, it's best not to annoy them further. The doctor concluded that further treatment would be useless. The research team made a decision to further test their hypothesis. The daily temperature is expected to drop even further tomorrow. Still. When the situation continues to exist. Travel east or travel west, a man's own home is still the best. The police still can't point out who committed the brutal crime. My brother still depends on our parents for his living expenses. There are still many people who do not have permanent homes. As a result. Because of something that has done. The bank mismanaged customer accounts as a result of fraud. As a result of reading every day, I improved my vocabulary. The company suffered as a result of a failed marketing campaign. As a result of the pandemic, many businesses had to shut down. Instead of. As an alternative or substitute. Instead of answering the question, he began to beat about the bush. Instead of tea or coffee, you can drink water to quench your thirst. Instead of complaining, why don't we try to change the methods? The result would then be conflict instead of constructive support. Yet. At the present time, until now. You are yet young, you have not seen the ups and downs in life. I don't like rain, yet I live in the state with the most rainfall. Living from hand to mouth, he yet maintains his standard of living. We don't have enough information yet to make a good decision. Otherwise. In another manner, differently. We need to be honest, otherwise, we might get caught in a lie. He seemed trustworthy, but his sly behavior proved otherwise. You need to be respectful, otherwise, people won't respect you. He claimed he was innocent, but the evidence proved otherwise. In fact, a thing that is known to be true. She pretends to have various abilities she doesn't, in fact, possess. Any sudden inspiration in fact cannot replace the long-term skill. The beautiful girl seemed rather aloof, in fact, she was just shy. There are some people who enjoy work, in fact, they love to work. Uniquely. Which is not like anything else. Don't be afraid to dress uniquely and express your personal style. Her past experience made her uniquely suited to lead the project. If you're a musician, try to create a tone that's uniquely your own. Each computer is uniquely specified by its serial number. Nonetheless, despite what has just been said, the story is long but, nonetheless, informative and entertaining. Despite his small size, Thomas is nonetheless a very good boxer. The paintings are complex but have plenty of appeal nonetheless. The movie was boring, nonetheless, we watched it till the end. Undoubtedly. Definitely, without any doubt. The boldest writer of the century was undoubtedly Shakespeare. The Eiffel Tower is undoubtedly the most famous landmark in Paris. Open-air exercise undoubtedly has lengthened the old man's life. Muhammad Ali was undoubtedly one of the greatest boxers of all time. Thus, in this, or that manner, or way, the company invested in new technology, thus increasing productivity. The scientist conducted experiments, thus discovering new information. The government implemented new policies, thus reducing crime rates. The sociologist analyzed the society, thus identifying its problems. Hence, as a consequence, for this reason, the roads were covered in ice, hence it was not safe to drive. The project was successful, hence, the team was praised by the boss. The game was amazing, hence, I recommended it to my friends. The flight was delayed, hence, we had to wait at the airport. Anyway, not considering other facts. The instructions were ambiguous, but he followed them anyway. The sky was clouded, but we decided to go for a walk anyway. I know it's a tough decision, but anyway, we have to make it. I'm feeling tired, but anyway, I'll try my best to stay focused. In comparison, when compared with another. In comparison with the Indians, the British eat far less fish. Wages have risen, but not in comparison with the cost of living. France is relatively rich, in comparison to European countries. In comparison to Minnesota, parts of New York have a similar climate. Then, At a particular time in the past or future. We first make our habits, and then our habits make us. Some people do first, think afterward, and then repent forever. Keep in touch with me, then I can inform you about the new decision. Questions regarding the bill may then be asked, and debate follows. Similarly. Similarity between two facts, or events. Husband and wife were similarly successful in their chosen careers. Similarly, if you don't ask questions, you won't learn anything new. Similarly, if you don't set goals, you won't have direction in life. Similarly, if you don't seek feedback, you won't know how to improve. Meanwhile, in the intervening period of time, the doctor examined the patient. Meanwhile, the nurse took notes. The sun was rising. Meanwhile, the birds were starting to sing. I went to university. Meanwhile, all my friends got well-paid jobs. The computer was updating. In the meanwhile, we took a break. Therefore, as a result of something, he has pleasant manners and therefore he gained many friends. Education can solve all problems, therefore its expansion is necessary. She practiced her piano every day, therefore she improved my skills. The traffic was heavy, therefore we arrived late for the meeting. Equally. Fairly and in the same manner. The two teams were equally matched, but only one could win. They agreed to share the profits equally among the partners. In a democratic system, the law applies equally to everyone. We should all be treated equally, no matter what we believe. Regardless. Despite the prevailing circumstances. We should always be responsible, regardless of your age. Domestic abuse can happen to anyone, regardless of gender. You should always be grateful, regardless of what you have. It is important to be organized regardless of our workload. Namely, to be more exact about something. One group of people seems to be forgotten, namely, pensioners. The railroad connects two cities, namely, New York and Chicago. It possesses three qualities, namely, eternality, knowledge, and bliss. These are the building blocks of human genetics, namely, genes. Besides. In addition to, or apart from. Besides her regular job, Sarah also volunteers at a local club. Besides being a talented musician, Jack is also an excellent cook. The city has numerous attractions. Besides, it has a rich cultural heritage. The hotel has many amenities, besides the swimming pool and gym. Nevertheless, despite the fact or idea just mentioned, he was busy. Nevertheless, he still made time for his family. The hike was challenging. Nevertheless, the view was worth it. He was injured. Nevertheless, he continued to play in the game. The museum was crowded. Nevertheless, we enjoyed the exhibits. Thereafter. From a particular point in time. He lost his job and thereafter struggled to make ends meet. If you plan your day well, you'll have more free time thereafter. A final report will be issued shortly thereafter, he said. We entered the nuclear age and soon thereafter the Cold War. Finally. At the end of a long wait. The agreement was finally reached after very lengthy discussions. He finally realized that his girlfriend had made a fool of him. After months of training, he finally decided to run a marathon. The gunman was finally overpowered by 3 security guards. Likewise. In a like manner, similarly. The book is well written, likewise, it has an engaging plot. Sarah is a talented singer, likewise, she is a skilled pianist. Last week, we put up a fence and other neighbors did likewise. Paul always finishes his homework, likewise, you should do. Obviously. Something is definitely true. It is obviously important to wear a helmet when riding a bike. He's a great athlete, obviously, he's been training for years. It's obviously important to stay hydrated when you're exercising. It is obviously not safe to cross the road without looking both ways. Frequently. Happen very often or many times. The illness frequently coexists with other chronic diseases. Tension began to build as they argued more frequently. As a child, she frequently withdrew into her own fantasy world. Nowadays, the park is frequently visited by families on weekends. Normally. Under normal or usual conditions. Normally, it takes 3 or 4 years to complete the training. Avarice can cause people to do things they wouldn't normally do. Depression can make it hard to do things you normally enjoy. Children normally feel a lot of anxiety about their first day at school.